Hello viewers, I am Colonel Pankaj and I am going to interview Major D.P. Singh, an Indian Army veteran today. He is a Kargil veteran who received life-terminating injuries during the war. But despite all the odds and the medical issues, he challenged himself to rise and shine as an adventure sportsman and an athlete. He has many firsts to his credit and he is a recipient of many reputed national and international awards. He has authored his life story in a book called Grit, the Major Story, which inspires many to ride over the difficulties with smile. He is also a motivational speaker and frequently travels all over the country to motivate the youth. He also runs an NGO called the Challenging Ones to motivate and encourage people with disabilities to excel in sports. He loves to connect and meet people and help anyone who needs to be helped. When I went to interview him, he was busy guiding these two youngsters who had come all the way from Coimbatore to get his guidance. Hello, viewers. Today in our interview, we have a very exceptional personality. He is a retired army officer. His name is Major Devinder Pal Singh. He is sitting here with us. He is the pride of the Tri City, and the officer was selected into this commission into the 7th Battalion of the Dogra Regiment in December 1997. In fact, we are batchmates, course and we have gone through the training together. So when it came to taking an interview, I thought the right choice, an inspirational figure which we have here in the Tri-City is Major Devinder. Without taking much more time, I will take you straight to Devinder and we'll ask him some questions as to how he has evolved from an injured soldier to a person what he is today, an inspiration for thousands and millions of people. Hello, Devinder.
Hi, Pankaj.
So, first of all, our viewers would like to know as to you got commissioned into the army to live a full service, do well in the service, rise like everyone else, and then came the Kargil War of 1999, in which you were in the front line and you were facing the odds. And then what happened? What changed your life thereafter?
Well, like any other youngster, I was just not even 25-year-old, put in 1.5 year of service, and I also had made plans lined up for next 10 years that I will do X, Y, Z, and then once we complete those targets of 10 years, then we'll see what next further. But then always destiny has their own plan. And out of my experience of life, I have understood the fact that you may think whatever, but finally, what is destined, that will happen. So I feel lucky that I was part of Operation Vijay, famous as Kargil War, which happened in 1999, because I was deployed with my battalion on line of control in Akhnoor sector. I was commanding a small post, protective post, dot on the line of control, which was there in the Malabartavi river. And the enemy post was 80 meters away from us. And when the war started, all type of actions we saw. And maybe while, in those interaction of actions, using weapons and ammunition, different type of ammunitions on enemy, the enemy was fed up of me, right? And that is the reason why they wanted to pin me down, and that is the reason why for good about 48 hours they stopped firing. Initially I felt good because my men had some respite out of the continuous firing and action which was happening day in and out. But slowly it started giving me a little bit of uneasiness that so much of break
Never happened. Unusual.
it's unusual. In war, if something like this is happening, that means it is fishy.
Yeah.
And as the luck would have, perhaps during that break, they were doing the recce of my post, and finding my movements, that how during the day I move from which part of the post to the other part. And after 48 hours, suddenly early in the morning, before the daylight breaks, the firing started. The mortar which they fired upon me, the first bomb flew above me and away quite a distance. You know, in the war, you can make out by some noise and sound it creates in the air, and whereas the bomb is there. But the one which is meant for you, it does not create any sound. So the second one was corrected by them, and it landed meter and a half away from. It was a 52 mortar, and the killing zone of that ammunition is 8 meter dia from the point of impact.
And you were just within 2 meters of that.
Yeah, meter and a half away I was from that. So again, as per the teachings, I was supposed to get killed. But then destined for not to get killed, destined to do something more in the later life. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning, we may plan anything, but destiny is very powerful. You see, destiny plays such a critical role there that I got injured, and within fraction of seconds I was lying like a pool of blood. The blood was coming out of me from various holes. There are multiple shrapnel injuries, and around more than
You
70
have about 73
shrapnels
shrapnels still
my
inside your body.
Exactly.
73 is a big number, all metal.
Yeah. So I was unconscious within fraction of seconds. My team played a very courageous role. 7th Battalion, Dogra Regiment boys, undeterred, without caring about their own life, they evacuated me. Then further it took me 2.5 hours to reach hospital. Heavy blood loss, cardiac arrest en route made me reach in a state where the surgeon who received me he declared me as a brought dead. Again the destiny played a role. A senior anesthesiologist intervened there, and he said, no, let me have a look. He somehow revived me. Now starting from, you see, your action does define your future. But in this period when I was unconscious, I was almost dead. How could I act anything?
There was nothing in your hands.
Exactly. I could not tell that doctor that, hello, I am from Delhi, tu janta nahi main kaun hu, mujhe dekh dhang se, I am not dead. Nothing like that. I could throw my weight or something like that. You know, he declared me dead and somebody else revived me. And then many Indians gave blood to me to revive me. I don't know, as I always take pride in sharing that how many Indians' blood is running in my veins today. That's why I feel proud that it is pure Indian blood, not of my family.
So the blood is actually tricolor in your case.
Exactly. So destiny had played this role, and I accepted it. I was revived third day, and then the gangrene happened in my right foot. Further evacuation was initially difficult. Somehow they evacuated me to Udhampur hospital, where the amputation was happened, and I lost the right leg. Multiple injuries, partly intestines were removed, hearing loss, elbow fracture, ulna fracture, left side of the leg, calf muscle, thigh muscle got shrapnel hits, and quite a chunk of muscles are not there. Shrapnels are inside. So the whole body has something or else all over the body.
Yeah.
Injuries, right? Barring my smile.
Which is always there, the trademark smile.
Right. So now whether to accept the destined life to me and keep on crying over it.
So that is what my the second question is, what I thought I'll ask you, and you have naturally come to that. A lot of soldiers come to this point in life, and not only soldiers, sportsmen, even normal people during their life, they encounter some accidents which make them almost paralyzed, or they lose their limbs, or some people are even born with disabilities. But you have undergone this amazing transformation from actually, like you said, that you were almost lifeless, declared dead, You went on to become a paratrooper, you went on to become a blade runner, you have done skydiving, and like you said, the kind of injuries you are carrying in your body. And despite we in normal life, even a small injury, it makes us helpless, and we sit down at home. But here you are running with one leg only, and you're running marathons and you're running half marathons. So tell us how you accepted the life, and what propelled you, what boosted your confidence, and what gave you that energy and the go to transform yourself. Tell us about that journey.
See, you have used the statement accepted the life, and that is the key. One need to have trust in on oneself and Almighty that whatever is happening is good for me. Now, this is something which I heard during my childhood when I was connected to Gurdwara Sahib by my grandparents. And while visiting time and again to Gurdwara Sahib, when I heard the type of history I belong to, the type of race I belong to, Sikhism, which is full of sacrifice and service towards others, I felt that something which has happened with me is too trivial and shallow if I compare it with what gurus have done. So, no way, I was supposed to feel bad about it. Secondly, these are the traditions of armed forces, where again on the similar lines of service and sacrifice for the sake of others, armed forces people have since ages lived up to the traditions without unflinching eyes.
Without flinching even
Once they do something which is good for the sake of country comes always first. So here am I with my own Sikhism traditions and history and my organizational traditions and history. How dare can I feel bad about what happened with me? That is first thing. Second thing is that, of course, as I mentioned, that I had full trust on Almighty, and I had heard this statement that everything, whatever is happening, is with some purpose for yourself. It is good. For that reason, the most critical step is to accept what has happened with you. Now, if I have lost a leg, if I have injuries all around my body, these are so-called shortcomings given to me. So if I don't accept it, it is not going to help me. And it is just sheer wastage of time if I feel bad and sad about what has happened with me. So accepting the reality is the first step towards progress. The second step, of course, is that whichever situation you are in, whatever conditions you have, you are surrounded with, you have accepted it. Now make best out of it by putting in your efforts, hard work, that how can you shine out of it. And this is what I did.
Very well put it.
Acceptance and making the best out of your situation.
So you also went through the stage of trauma, the mental trauma, the physical trauma. You pulled yourself out of it, and then you started venturing into sports. So you have run marathons. You have various records in your name. You have your name in the. This is the solo skydiving jump.
India record and Asia record.
Asia Book of Records.
And above that all.
Limca Book of Records.
Right.
So you have excelled yourself in sports despite being in a condition in which you were. And then you also run an NGO, the Challenging Ones, abbreviated as TCO, in which you are giving the same message to people who have lost their limbs or they are living a life of disability to transform themselves the way you have transformed yourself.
Exactly.
So, Devinder, tell me this. There are people like us, who are endowed with everything in life. They have all their limbs intact. They have everything what a person can ask for: a comfortable life, family, and all everything. And despite that, you see, so the people don't rise up to the cause of the nation. Whereas here you are, and many like you who are there, who have so many problems, but still they come out, they heal themselves, and then they heal others. So, where is this disconnect? Where do you see is the disconnect coming from? You drew your inspiration from the religious teachings, then the military teachings, but everybody is going through some kind of religious teachings and values are being imbibed in them. Where does the disconnect come? Is it because of the experience you have gone through that the reality has come on you? How can we wake up the other section of the society who has got everything and who is not ready to give anything to back to the society? Your views on that?
I don't think there is any disconnect. The reason being, again the same statement, whatever is happening is supposed to happen like that only, and it is happening good. Now I'll give you one small example. We all have studied in school or any profession we are doing. Who is the person out of all the students or out of all the employees who is being tasked with something which is extraordinarily difficult by the boss or by the teacher? Somebody who is capable of doing that. Am I right? It is not being given just like that to anybody. Similarly, in life also, such tasks are being given to the chosen ones. I feel I am one of the chosen ones, and I am one of the best chosen ones along all through the earth, because time and again the challenges were given to me. Because somebody knows, if you believe in Almighty or a natural power, he or she knows that this guy can do something which is not possible for others. That is the reason he took away my leg. And let me add here, when I had both the legs, you know it, I was just second enclosure cross country type. It was not a very loving affair for me to run cross country. It was just a mere painful test which was supposed to be done. Only after losing the leg I went for 21 kilometers and even 42 kilometers and even high altitude and toughest of places. How? Because somebody has given that task that now without leg you can perform and prove the fact that ability and a state of mind. Similarly, rest of the challenges were also given to me, because somehow I feel that the Almighty felt that this guy can do it. So rest of the people who are unable to do it or unable to get some challenges, don't feel they are lucky. They are not as lucky as I am. That is one part. Second part, you and me are soldiers. We have been imbibed with this thought process that nation comes first, always and every time. So even after hanging my uniforms, even after getting the disabilities, do I forget to seize those thoughts? No. So what can I do still for my country? And when I am the chosen one, when I am being looked up as a capable person to do something extraordinary, why not I do it for my country? So I started that NGO. Disregarding my personal choice, which was suggested by many to go to Paralympics and win a medal, I said, if I produce many more Paralympians, many more persons with disability who can conquer and excel in their life, that will be more satisfying for me from the perspective of what can I do for the country. True. So this thought process is not mine. This thought process is of the organization we belong to. I am a soldier, and I will keep looking up to and living up to those traditions which has been imbibed in us. And this is simply what I am doing. Now all these output is just a mere result. I did not ever look for making a Limca record or breaking a national record or attempting. I only look for that how can I improve myself now today again by doing something which has not been done by me ever or by anybody else? That thought got conceived in mind, and that also I feel is courtesy that it was destined. That's why the thought came. Everything starts here. First conceived in the mind, and then you powerfully, passionately start imagining, living those thoughts, and it gets converted into a reality. It takes that much time as much it is required to build your ability to convert that thought into reality. Neither less nor more. So the day I became capable of living those realities, it got published into records.
It all manifested.
I never looked up to making records. It
So
happened.
the message from Devinder is very clear. First thing is that you have to be powerful in the mind, accept the reality,
Exactly.
and accept it and live it very passionately,
Exactly.
and then convert it into actions. Don't get stuck up in your past. Look ahead. Try and do always something very positive. And
Let
as
me
I-
add here, which is very important, because this statement of yours may confuse people that I am very highly positive, never feel sad, never get irritated, never get angry, don't feel bad about things. No, these are the natural emotions.
These are the challenges you also face, like any other common
Exactly.
human being, but you overcome them.
So the point is, what I am trying to tell is, if you are saying that somebody is never feeling sad, never getting angry, never feeling bad that failure is hurting me or irritation and stuff, those negative emotions, if you feel that somebody is not having, then perhaps he is not medically fit. Because these are natural emotions every human being should have, and I also have. But then I now, by over the period of experiences, have understood the fact
How to tackle
that these emotions are not going to help me if I keep it in myself for longer duration. At times I do cry also. I care to hoots that crap statement that men don't cry. It doesn't make any sense to me. Emotion, if you feel like crying, cry out. Just release that emotion and don't stay in that emotion. That's more important.
I think that's a very important message.
Because if you stay stuck in that emotion that I have lost, I've seen failures, I'm feeling sad, now what will happen, and most importantly, what people will say, to hell with the people here. The point I'm trying to tell is that if you detest that, no, I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel sad. What exactly you are repeating? Feel sad, feel sad, feel sad. That means you are reviving those emotions. Embrace. Feel sad. And then let it go.
So acceptance is basically the
Exactly. Let that emotion come and then step out of that emotion by looking at something beautiful which you have achieved in the past, something better which has happened with you, or your thought process of living a dream. That should be more powerful to take you out of that emotion instead of detesting and stopping that emotion. Let it come and pass. Don't stay stuck there.
I think Devinder, no one else could have described these subtopics. We keep reading about these things in various books. I don't think anyone could have described them better than what you have done today. And the message which you are spreading in the society is really helping a lot of people. And I'm sure that this message of yours, what you have given today so passionately, your passion is visible. That this message will also reach out to many people and it will give them inspiration in life. With that, I would.
This is what something gives me a contentment that I have been chosen for a life which gives hope to the people.
So with,
What more I need?
Yeah.
I am getting so much of love and affection. Thank you so much.
So
God bless.
with those words, I would like to thank you for your message and the inspiration given
Thank
to
you
our
so much. God bless.
Thank you.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.